All right, welcome to Miscellanies. This is what should we call this, guys? Project Big Picture EuroLeague clusterfuck.
Yes.
Project money thing.
Yeah, Project Power Grab. There we go.
All the monies. All the money.
So yeah, we're gonna be talking Project Big Picture. It's been a wild couple of weeks in the news for football, particularly for us as Liverpool fans, as we find out that our owners are intent on taking world football, turning it upside down, and shaking every last penny out of its pockets. Um, but so to get into big picture, so this kind of came out of nowhere, but they basically proposed restructuring all of English football. So the Premier League would go down to 18 teams. Well, I'm trying to think of what it basically gets into how the money is redistributed and then how relegation occurs. So it'd be like the bottom two teams are automatically relegated, whereas the third to last team in the Premier League would play off against the top five teams in the championship, and that's how it would go at each level. It would be ditching the Community Shield in the League Cup, which we've talked about before on this show. It would be getting rid of parachute payments to teams that got relegated, which I can't remember how much they get per season, but it's pretty significant. I think it's like 250 mil. They did throw in like 20-pound away tickets for away fans. I think it was a larger percentage of the Premier League TV deal will go down the pyramid. There was some new rules around the distribution of income, but the big one, and also they're getting rid of solidarity payments down the pyramid. But the big one that caught a lot of the attention was the power grab, which was that the top nine or top six, the usual top six, plus Everton, West Ham, and who was the third? Who am
Was
I
it-
missing?
Was it not? It wasn't Leicester, was it? No, it
No,
wasn't.
it
'Cause
wasn't.
Leicester was
Newcastle, I
opposed.
think it was.
Huh? Wasn't Newcastle?
Wasn't Newcastle. Wasn't Villa.
Guys, I feel like we should have this on board.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, anyways, it was
Doesn't
based
matter.
on who's been in the league the longest, quote unquote. So would get a bigger share. Basically, they were going to do away with the one club, one vote rule, and those clubs could form a super majority and make any decisions that they wanted to make. And as we found out later, that would eventually tie into their grander plans for a European Premier League. So with all that, and we can get into what the European Premier League means, because I should probably stop talking at some point. Darius, what was your initial reaction to the news for the Project Big Picture as it came out?
So I got the information in bits, right? I first heard, okay, there's going to be this big plan. And when I first heard it was proposed by Liverpool and Manchester United, I'm like, I don't know. The two big dogs coming up with a new plan moving forward. That to me sounds like this is going to be something that only benefits those teams at the top. Then I heard about the plan to revitalize really the EFL and getting more money into the lower leagues and through the FA. So revitalizing the championship, and you're going to have higher payments, and TV money is going to go further down the ladder. I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound bad. Some of the rev share going to these lower teams. And then I hear about these special elections. And that was the sticking point to me, because what it really boils down to, no matter how we go and continue, like, because we're going to talk more about it in depth, but what it really comes down to is more money is going to go further down, but it's going to be higher voting power and higher negotiating power going to the top, where you're going to have teams, everyone gets to negotiate their own TV deals, like you get to see in baseball, where you get local TV money that goes out. Well, the way it works in baseball, it's great for the LA Dodgers. It's great for the New York Yankees. It's great for the Boston Red Sox. They don't do shit for the Tampa Bay Rays. So when you're talking about that for what it's going to look like for the Premier League, it's great for Liverpool, Manchester United. If they say, yeah, we're going to sell our games to the highest bidder, fantastic. To the lower teams, it doesn't mean anything. So all you're doing is creating a wider disparity in who makes more money. And then, of course, these special elections, it's just like you can get all the hell the way out of there with that, because now you're really talking about a scenario where the entire league's future is being put into the hands of the few, into the rich and the powerful. And that goes everything against the ethos of Liverpool, the club, and Liverpool, the city. So it's just like, it's one of those things where you really do have to read the finer details. You have to read the whole contract, because when you hear one thing or another, you can be swayed in one direction. But when you see the whole thing, you realize this is a money grab. This is a power grab. It's money going down to the people who don't have as much, and all the power going to the top. Dude, it's pimping is really what it comes down to. It's pimping. So
It's
I'm just
buying
like, no.
favor, is right. Like buying favor with the lower clubs. We're going to give you money, but listen, we need something in return.
Come on, baby. We'll take care of you. I mean, we'll give you a little money on the side, but it's, hey, when have we ever done you wrong?
Yeah, right.
Listen to me,
exactly.
baby. I got your best interest at heart.
And then it's like League Two teams looking at like teams from 10 to 19th in the Premier League going, I don't fucking care about you voting. I want the extra couple million. What are you talking about?
Like, I'm
and then,
never going to get to that point. So
Yeah,
this doesn't affect me at all if you take
Because
more
they do
power.
need the money. And that's the thing that's
Yeah.
just like mind-blowing. It's like, if there could be a system where they get the money without that transfer of power, that would be ideal. But it's like,
So-
damn, do we need to make that trade?
What is
That w-
interesting? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the thing for me was that like I kind of viewed it when it came out as being like the initial offer, which obviously is not the final offer. And if you're the one tabling the initial offer, like you said off air, you go Dr. Evil, you go as far as you can, to get as much as you can without giving up, giving up as little as you want, And so I felt like it was an initial offer, but then it was presented to the whole wide footballing world as Manchester United and Liverpool have decided that this is how it's going to happen. And someone somewhere, they may not hate Liverpool. If they don't hate Liverpool, they definitely hate Man United. And if they don't hate Man United, they definitely hate Liverpool. And part of me thinks, because there's some stuff, like you said, Darius, there's some stuff in there, the minor details, like obviously money going down the pyramid, going into grassroots and stuff like that is a good thing. Like that should be happening anyways. If it comes with this, power grab of the vote, obviously that's not a very good thing. But part of me feels like it's just the English trying to stifle any type of change at all, just by throwing the story out there, attaching the two big evil names to it and saying, go after it, boys, tear this shit apart.
So Darius brought up reading the fine print, and I will share this. I read this the other day, and it was talking about, so all the money that's proposed to go down the pyramid, I think it's like they're estimating like 800 million pounds or whatever. But once you take away the value of the EFL's current TV deal, which is around 113 mil, the fact that there would be no more parachute payments, around 260 million to recently relegated clubs, no solidarity payments, which is around 100 million pounds, and suddenly it's about a 325 million pound uptick from what they currently get. So it's not quite as generous as it's being made to seem, is the argument here. But then again, that 325 million pounds, if you are Accrington Stanley, is what you need right now. You need access to funds like that just to stay existing. So I think, it's a little disingenuous to say that 325 million pounds is nothing when the owners who are offering it up bought their club for 300 million pounds about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not that it's nothing. It's just that maybe it's not enough. Andrew, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's very interesting that this came out, and then a week and a half later, or whatever time it's been, this European Super League article has come out as well, and how they're two tied together, because obviously they are. But we can talk about that in a second. But what's interesting is that, number one, the Premier League has unanimously apparently said, F this big picture stuff. That's not happening. However, I think the goal of big picture was ultimately met. And I think that goal was just to get tongues wagging in terms of some of the things that were proposed. Some of the things are not crazy. Getting rid of the League Cup is not crazy. Getting rid of parachute payments is not crazy. From a standpoint of you're giving a club X number of dollars, and then it like drives the market up in the championship, right? So, and then apparently I read that somewhere the original Premier League documents wanted 18 league format anyway, or 18 team format
Talking
anyway.
about
So
back in '92, like the original.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But from another standpoint, it's like, look, for example, the relegation thing. That's interesting. Germany, the Bundesliga does something similar, not quite the same. I think that could be exciting. Because back when we were the older Liverpool, when we weren't competing for titles, we were competing for top four. So, and that was an exciting race, but it would also be an exciting race to see, this relegation playoff. But again, that might be just an American mentality. But and then also obviously getting rid of the League Cup would do a lot of favors in terms of what Klopp and a lot of the coaches have talked about in terms of the quality of the product, meaning, you have X number of games in midweek and blah, blah, blah. And the fitness levels, these guys are humans, blah, blah, blah. So, the quality starts to dip, right? So that as consumers, that's obviously a good thing. However, you guys have already talked about the bad things. The idea of the big six, quote unquote, having more power and so on is obviously very negative. And it comes to no surprise as the billionaires boys club decides, oh, we have a football club. Let's get more money, guys. How can we make more money? How can we get another 10%? So I don't know why anyone was naive enough to think that this wouldn't happen, whether it was this year or 2023 or, whatever the case is. Now, I guess we're going to talk about the European Super League, so I'll wait for that in a second. But I would just say that I'm interested to see from obviously the good things that were proposed, if something will happen down the line in terms of, for example, the League Cup, the parachute payments and so on. So I'm interested in that. But then obviously I'm very against the big six having more of a say or going to like a La Liga-esque model of, the bigger teams get more of a cut of the TV revenue and so on and so forth. Because then if we do that, we'll never have a Leicester again. We'll never have a Blackburn and so on. Or as some Evertonians are saying, it's Everton's year this year, guys, if you didn't know. So we'll never have that again if we go this route. So again, from a consumer standpoint, that is obviously very bad.
What reinforced it, honestly, is that year, Liverpool ended up winning a treble. They won the League Cup in February, then they won the FA Cup in May and the UEFA Cup in May. Right. And following those runs is kind of what solidified it. I mean, when you're 9 years old, like when I was little, I liked the Cowboys. Why did I like the Cowboys? Because the Cowboys were always winning. You're 5 years old. 6 years old.
When you're a kid, it makes no sense. You're just like it's a standard-based instinct, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You have no
so
logic.
I just these cool guys in red that I just started watching with the kids playing are winning things. So that's pretty cool. And they win the treble. And I remember like coming into school on one of the last few days with like the paper clipping of like Michael Owen from the UEFA Cup, like doing their goalkeeper and scoring a goal and like showing it to everyone like, yeah, that's right, Liverpool won or whatever, Right. And so that like solidified it, but then what really solidified it is when I went to Anfield next year.
Okay, so tell us, so how old are you then? What, 11?
10 or 11. I must have been 10 years old. Probably still 10.
How Daddy set that up for you on your birthday?
So here's what happens, right? Like I told you, the guy that my dad shadowed with was a Chelsea fan, got me a Chelsea kit. It just didn't work out.
Right.
But, obviously there's cooler talk going on at the office. My dad's the boss here, basically. So everyone's, talking to him. And he's telling these people that he works with, like, oh, my son's getting into Liverpool. We watched, he begged me to stay up to watch the UEFA Cup last night, and it went to extra time. And he worked with two guys that had season tickets on the Cup at Anfield.
What?
They were like, like any proper Liverpool fan, like realizing, oh, wait, we have a chance to steal one here and take over his soul for the rest of his life. They were like, yo, you need to take him to Anfield. And more importantly than that, you need to go sit on the Kop with him at Anfield.
So I wanted to kind of ask everybody, like, what's the piece that's got to go for you? So you're a league owner, right? Let's say you own Newcastle, right? What's the piece of this that if you change it, like, how do you make it work? What's the piece that's got to go? What's the piece that you want to stay? All that.
I guess obviously the one is the vote thing, but in regards to the vote thing, I don't even think that's even if presented in the right manner, it's not as controversial as it's made out to be. Let's think about Project Restart. There was a bunch of teams at the bottom of the league who were like, let's null and void this thing. Let's cancel it. And not out of interest of the benefit of the league or the interest of the benefit of the competition or health and safety, but for their own personal gain, right? Now, there was teams like Norwich, who went down? Norwich, Watford, and who was the other team? The third team that went down? Can't remember right now. Anyways, those 3 teams went down. Those 3 teams got to decide the future of the Premier League in those votes for Project Restart. And now they're in the championship. You know what I mean? There's teams at the bottom of the table that are making decisions in these votes for the league, not with the league in mind, but with their own personal interest. Obviously, you know, the Liverpool wanting to get the votes is in their own personal interest as well. I'm not denying that. But the thing is like, do you want to give the stewardship of the league to teams that are in the league every single year? You know, maybe that's
5 minutes. Yeah.
Which is why they've tied in, you know.
But hold on. But to your point, like, I think this makes sense, but I've been drinking, so I don't know. But it'd be like Man City saying, yo, let's get a salary cap, son.
Kind of. It would be like,
oh yeah, let's diminish the ambitions of a little guys to prevent the next Man City, right? So that's
but I don't necessarily see, like, is there a scenario where the big 6 or 7, 8 get together in a room and they're like, we're voting to make the league only 10 teams and no one gets relegated and it's just us.
No, that's the ultimate, like, that would be the evil plan.
Right? Like, are they really going to do that? Do we mistrust all these big clubs that have been institutions of English football that much that we don't think they can steward the league properly?
And how often are Everton, Southampton, and West Ham going to vote in line with the big 6 on a lot of things, right? Like, they're going to have more of a mentality of the other 13 clubs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I just think it maybe the importance of it is a little bit overblown, and really, like, we know what they're driving at now.
Yeah.
They've made that obvious.
Yeah. But no, so for me, if I was a Newcastle owner, I'd be like, you got to get rid of the vote thing. I'm cool with all these other payment things. Maybe we have to change some numbers, beef up a little bit more payments down the league, whatever. But the one thing we have to get rid of is I'm not giving up my equal power of vote.
Yeah. So, all right, I think everybody's going to say the vote thing, but are there other parts of it that bother you?
Well, if I'm Newcastle, there's not enough sponsorship to get Sports Direct out there. So I'm really concerned about that. No, if you're looking at it from a small club standpoint, it's the thought that you could have to kind of fend for your own a little bit more, because that was included, the fact that you're going to probably have some of these direct to market games, whether it's on your own TV network where LFC TV could do that. What do they have in Newcastle? I mean, I genuinely do not know. So it's things of that nature, because it sounds like it would be more of a free market rather than a rev share. So anything that even sways in that direction, you really want to be wary of if you're a smaller club. And that's not even a voting thing. That was what was a little bit written in, granted, only on a limited basis, but that was written into the proposal. So you do want to be wary of that. You want to make sure that there is a rev share. Yes, it can be incentive based as it currently is, but you do not want it to be, hey, go get your own. And then, and then we'll have merit and get your own on top of that. You do want it to be limited so that there's not a scenario where you get 400 million for being the winner plus all your TV deals. It's something that it's a little more even. So if I'm a smaller club, I want a little bit more of a guarantee that it's going to be equal going across the board for TV payout or anything of that nature.
That's interesting though, because if you're Liverpool and you look at your television numbers around the world and you're going like for instance, the United States,
they're undervalued.
Yeah, you're like, why aren't we getting, and you're sitting there thinking like, what if we did move to like our own private subscription platform where we sold our games? Like, I'm sure all of us, even as fans right now, dealing with CBS and NBC, like that actually sounds like the best thing ever. Like, oh, we're going to get like all Liverpool sportscasters on talking Liverpool, and like we're not gonna have to deal with Martin Tyler, and we can get every game that we need to, and we just have to pay for it like £5 or $5 per game.
Or what if they sell it to like Nessun and you can get it on satellite?
Like, but yeah, obviously as bigger club fans to us, it sounds like a grand, wonderful idea. But if you're Bournemouth,
I'm totally with you, because looking at it from a Liverpool standpoint, I do think that we can even call it Project Death Star, honestly, because because what it's going to be, it's going to create the empire and then all the rest of the peasants. But yeah. I'm just sitting here thinking like, look, I don't want it to be a scenario where the Premier League is not just what it is now, where you do have the big six, but where it's like, look, the little clubs don't even have a shot in hell. I don't want that. So anything that leans in that direction, I'm just like, nah, we're good where we are. It's already disparate enough. Yeah. So that's just where I'm at personally.
I'll say this though, a big fan of the relegation thing, honestly.
Yeah, I like that.
As far as maintaining the quality of the league, there's teams that get relegated that are better than the teams that come up. That happens every so often.
Yeah.
So if they get into a mini tournament and they win their right to stay in the league, I'd rather have the better team stay in the league than just to bring up a fucking Derby County to lose 35 matches in a season,
Yeah. No, and I agree. I like the idea of winning your right to stay in the league. I think for me, there's two aspects. Look, they're not going to, so we all would say take away the vote thing, but they're not going to do it without some kind of caveat, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. I think that for me, keep the solidarity payments going down the pyramid. That's 100 mil continuing down the pyramid. That beefs up that 325 number to 425. That's not 100 mil is not nothing.
Yeah.
And also, there's a lot of money going to the FA in this deal, which was another thing for grassroots football for the women's game. I forgot to mention that. So it's another bonus of the deal. But for the vote thing, maybe make it where you can't make a change unless you have to have 5 of the 9 big of those clubs on board with the change. If you can't get 5 of those 9, then you can't pass it. Still one club, one vote, but you got to get 5 of these 9 in order to make
6.
Well, I'm just going with a simple majority.
Yeah, well, we don't got to go U.S. Senate on them,
because you don't want to.
Oh, sorry,
U.S.
I lost.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. My bad.
But no,
my bad,
as far as the voting goes, how about like just because you guys have mentioned, we don't necessarily want a club who's just going to be the rubber band club, up and down, up and down, up and down. You don't want them to be the parachute. You don't want them to be,
and that's kind of what the parachute
legislation
payment does.
So why not just have it like, if you were in the league last year, you get a vote. Everyone else, stay up, and then you'll get a vote. I mean, it could be simple as that. Make it 17.
Or like
odd number.
Make the line, because I'm like, Newcastle's not been in the league one time in like 2 decades. How do they not get a vote?
Yeah. Right. Why doesn't Villa get a vote? And like, let's transition to like the European Super League talk here, because obviously the true intentions of those 9 clubs getting a vote is really like, so we can vote our way into this European Super League without consequence.
Exactly.
No, it's not even just that. It's about the ability to leverage their international fan bases, so they can say, right. So let's sell like 8 games exclusively on our digital platforms across the world at the UK. So United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, City, they can be like, okay, we're going to sell this package, these 8 games exclusively to China, X, Y, and Z. And then when they have those 9 teams, only 6 of them have to agree. So Everton doesn't have to agree. Southampton doesn't have to agree. And I think what's the other team that's in there? Southampton, Everton, and West Ham. I think so they don't have to agree. The other 6 can just agree and say, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to do that for 24 out of the 38 games, right? And then the other, was it 11 or 9 teams in the league are just like, oh, we don't get a vote, we don't matter. So I think that's an issue. I mean, it's an issue from a UK fan perspective. I know we live across the pond, so we watch everything on TV. So I guess we don't have that kind of going to the matches fan culture, but still we want that because we take our cues from those people, right? We get our fan culture from the people on the island, right? So But yeah, sorry, I interrupted. I'm drinking. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? European Super
We're
League?
talking about the Super League and how the main reason they want the vote is so they can vote themselves into the Super League, and their true intentions for doing this whole Project Big Picture is probably to get them into the Super League, because it's been floating in the background for how long, David? Like 3 or 4
30
years.
years.
Yeah, right. Just this
Really-
European Super League.
Yeah, I mean,
But
so
that's
I have two beefs with it.
Go ahead.
So
Tell us,
the
baby.
first is that you had talked about like the lowering of the product with the League Cup. Well, if we have 34 matches just to get to a playoff, like the fixture congestion is still there. Like I don't think Klopp's concerns about the quality of the product are necessarily addressed, because we're going to be playing 72 matches a year at this rate, just in these two competitions. Not to even mention the shit that they want to have these players doing in preseason and everything else. The other piece of this that bugs me is who's backing it. So it's not just JP Morgan Chase and their $6 billion, but you know who else is signing off on it? FIFA. And if there's one organization in the world that you cannot trust, it is FIFA. And if they want access to it, there is a reason. And I think it's because FIFA has long wanted access to football's best products so that they can ship it around the world. And believe me, I'm quite certain that certain games will be played in Giant Stadium, in the LA Coliseum, in China, in Japan, and all these other places. And it won't just be having these players go off to Amsterdam. It'll be having them go around the world to make them a bunch of money.
Well, David, do you guys kind of remember from last year, or it might have been the year before, they were talking about having a real La Liga game, like one of the
Miami.
El Clásicos in Miami. And they were talking about that. That's something that would happen if you get to that point with the Premier League. And it's like,
that's what they want to do. That's
this super European league on squared. Like,
that's how they become a global.
Well, now that you've brought it up, actually, FIFA and UEFA actually do have pretty strong beef going back for about 10, 15 years now. And now that you put it in that light, more than just FIFA getting their hands on big world product, it's kind of undercutting, because this is supposed to replace the Champions League. It's kind of undercutting UEFA's most valuable product, stealing their gems and then marketing them themselves. And kind of, I mean, if they got away with this, UEFA's kind of obsolete other than international football,
other than the Euros. That's it.
Right. So like, this is it kind of feels like now that I'm putting these synapses together in my brain, this kind of feels like FIFA trying to pull a fucking mafiosa move on UEFA.
Absolutely. But let's go back to the point of like, okay, let's say in the month of December, we're playing Bayern, we're playing Juventus, Leon, and I don't know, Sevilla. Right. Do we want that?
No.
Do we want that every month? Like, well, because for me, like the Champions League, it's a spectacle. There's, X amount of games, but it's if we get 5-star food every day of the week, it's like, okay, is there 6-star food?
Yeah, no, exactly. It loses its value to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you eat this all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so like it's hard to get up for the crowd to get up when Real Madrid comes, because Bayern Munich was here last week, Barcelona was here the week before. What do we care? You know what I mean? Not what do we care, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, but that being said, that if you told me, Liverpool and Bayern Munich are playing in Tokyo, Japan, I have to be honest and say, the people over there, they're going to love it. They're going to make a fortune. You're going to make tons of people happy, of course. But
believe me.
So what, are we going to turn European football into the Harlem Globetrotters, where they're just sitting up?
No. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying, like, I look at them, I'm like, oh, that's cool for them too. But at the same time, no, it's not good for us as consumers.
If it's not at Anfield and it's not at Camp Nou, it's shit. It's stupid. It's lost.
It's an exhibition at that point.
It's lost.
It's like the McDonald's. It's the globalization of this product. It's the McDonaldization.
You don't go to watch the Knicks play at Rucker Park. You go to watch them play.
Hold on.
You don't go to watch.
I was gonna say you don't go to watch the Knicks.
I don't know.
Just Madison Square Garden was in my head. But
yeah, no, like it was said best in the movie The Incredibles. If everyone is special, no one is special. And that's the thing. Shit. One of the things about the Champions League is it's the rarity to see Liverpool and Bayern at Anfield. It's the rarity to see Barcelona taking on another huge club. Like it's something that's so cool to see when you see Juventus taking on Manchester United. You don't get to see that every day. And
Also,
what
but
is
it'd be
being
just
proposed
like-
is that being the norm. And it's like,
Yeah, and it would
that's
be
not
just
what
a
you want.
content overload. How would you keep up with it? Every week, big teams are playing.
Oh,
It's
no,
like,
no,
oh,
no,
there's so
no.
much
That's not
content.
an issue. As
We'd
fans,
have
we
to
will
just
be
stop
able
doing
to
games.
take in
Yeah,
all of
don't
those
even
games.
act like you wouldn't be all on
Exactly.
board when
No,
it happens.
you'd be on board.
I'm gonna
It's
have
just-
a
it would
child
lose
and a
its
dog
luster.
and shit. I can't be dealing with all that at once.
Here's the other question I want to ask though. Why are we including City, Chelsea, and Arsenal when they combined have less European Cups than Aston Villa?
Because they're billionaires, homie.
But
Yeah,
why
money
have we
talks.
Because you're
decided?
buying your way in. That's
Why
the-
have we
that's the
decided that the
measurement.
English teams are these top 6? Spurs are fucking shit. They've
'Cause they're
been shit
billionaires
for
and they
40
have,
years.
They have X
I get
number
that.
of fans worldwide. all
But
that
you
kind of
give
bullshit.
Aston Villa 5 years and you get them in the top 4, they are now instantly bigger than Spurs. Instantly. Why have we decided?
But they
who
don't have a
which-
billionaire owner, though, do they?
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
that might be part of the reason why this is coming up now, because all
Maybe
the clubs
he's a
who are at the
dick, I don't
top, like
know.
City, they're like, look, we got a window right now. This
Yeah.
is when we got to take advantage and make sure that we're set up and we get our island on and the beach sunset
Yeah.
thing. So it's like maybe they're just trying to figure out their Dave, you know.
Yeah, I know what
they're
you're
trying to
saying.
figure out their sunset plan. They're trying to figure out their
Yeah.
exit strategy so they get to the absolute top and they're just so far away that nobody else can compete. Honestly, if you look at a club like Chelsea, if you look at a club like City, their window is only but so big because they don't have the history and they're probably not going to be as long lasting as, say, an Aston Villa
Yeah.
if they were to have that breakout season.
It also really stinks of Spurs trying to protect themselves. Like they're looking around going, fuck, we can't keep leads against West Ham, even with Gareth Bale. How do we protect our status as a big club? Let's just make this made up Super League. And why are we having 6 English teams? Like, why are there 6 English teams?
It's the best league in the world. That's why.
Yeah, it's definitely the most viewed league in the world. I mean,
Listen,
it has to do
yes,
with even
there
just the
you
go.
English
See, like,
language. I mean,
Well, and what they fail to recognize though is like, okay, so what makes Barcelona that night so special isn't just the fact that it's Barcelona, it's a European semifinal, it's the journey that you went on to get there, which included nights in Belgrade with psychos throwing shit over a glass wall at you.
Yeah.
You know, which
Yeah.
included, trips to Paris and Naples
And more importantly, it included not being in the Champions League for a couple of years.
for the better part of it, for like a better part of a decade.
Yeah,
really.
that was part of enjoying Barcelona second leg, is that we didn't have Champions League for years on years.
Yeah. And you can't
Yeah,
just
well, we'll put those
ensure that we're
highlights
going
on
to have
later.
it all the time. Then it's not going to have the same vibe.
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it reeks of spoiled brats stomping their feet and want. We want more.
it reeks of an NFL type experience where, like in American sports, where there's no relegation, you can be shit for years on end and there's no consequences. Or
Tottenham can finish 20th in
Yeah.
this league.
And if it's
Yeah,
going to
exactly.
if it replaces the Champions League, I don't want it because we have a number 6 patch for a reason. We're just going to get rid of all that history and be like, fuck it, it's a thing of the past. It doesn't sit well with me.
No, it doesn't with me either.
I'll say
European
this.
Cup is special.
Before we wind down, I'll say this. Obviously, at some point in the 50s, when Real Madrid were like, hey, we want to do a European Cup, and everyone was going, that's just a money grab. That's fucking stupid. It eventually became what it became. So there is room for innovation and newness in football. But yeah,
Sure.
this isn't it for me.
This ain't it.
It's not it for me either. I kind of made a similar point to people the other day in that, the Cup Winners' Cup was once a thing, and you don't even
Yeah.
think about it anymore.
The Intertoto Cup.
I think
Intertoto Cup.
the first step would be to maybe revamp the Champions League, whether that's a la the World Cup or the Euros, where you add more teams or change the format a bit, rules, whatever.
I was gonna say,
Whatever
they've
you wanna
already
do, that
added
would
You
be
want to
the
make it
first
better?
step.
Don't add more teams. That's just
No,
diluting.
okay,
it.
but my
Yeah.
point being is that you however innovation that takes, whatever form that takes, you first change the Champions League, try that out before you tear down the whole system is what I'm trying to say.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Also, wasn't FIFA trying to do their own Club World Cup anyways? Like, just do that thing.
Yeah, they're doing that in
on
2024.
the
that's
do that on the
already
off
happening.
do that on the off summers and just be happy with that and fuck off.
Yeah. No, and they're doing that already where we've
So,
already
yeah, what-
qualified for the
Spanish
first
World
one.
Cup.
So now you're double dipping. Come on now, get a
Yeah.
grip.
Now they're just trying to take everything.
Well, you
and
know what
get more
FIFA
involved
do,
in
man.
club
Sep
football.
said it the best. I'm president of everybody. What are you trying to do, bro?
Man.
I just like that Gerard Infantino was, when he got elected, was like, today is the day corruption dies in FIFA. And like 2 months ago, he got popped for selling favors. It's a never-ending cycle in that fucking
Never-ending
shithole
cycle.
in Zurich, Switzerland. God damn.
And on that note, we'll go ahead and wind down.
Yeah.
Final
Hey,
thoughts.
I guess the final thoughts here is, you know, if we boo and hiss loud enough, they won't do it, right? So let's all just boo and hiss loud enough.
Maybe.
Yeah, we're fucked anyways.
No, the billionaires are in control. It's gonna.
We're not
happen.
hopeless.
It's
We're
gonna
not hopeless. We can affect change. We can build guillotines, right?
Let's hope.
Anyways, that's my final thoughts. Darius, you have anything?
I mean, if they do go full Project Death Star, I mean, we are Liverpool fans, so it'll be slimy, but it's like we get a seat at the table.
Yeah.
That's so shit. It's so shit to
Yeah.
think about, right? It's
Yeah,
awful.
I feel dirty.
I'm gonna
but
take a
I'm
shower
gonna-
after
I'm
watching
gonna
every
watch
match
it.
where they play Barcelona home and away.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. I'm probably gonna protest for a while, and then.
Oh, I'll protest, but I'm still gonna be watching.
yeah, I'll
Nah,
get weak in the
stop
knees at
lying.
some point.
Then that's the worst thing about it is that we will be begrudgingly, reluctantly buying
got
these
us.
subscriptions and et cetera, and
It would be
Damn it.
reluctant up until the point where it's like they're like, no, we're doing it, and then we'd be like, all right, let's fucking win the thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're
Exactly.
the worst. We're the worst.
yeah.
Let's win the Death Star Cup. I'm
Yes.
David,
I'm Jordan.
Andrew, and Darius.
I'm Andrew. Hi guys.
Darius, we had it going in a circle. God,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Circles are hard, man. They're hard shapes.
please.
Circles
All right,
are
till
hard.
next time.
And up the Reds.
Up the Reds.
Good night, everybody.
Love you guys.